Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. We broadcast every Thursday on all podcast platforms and Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 in beautiful Conroe, Texas. Hey, my bad. Sometimes you say the wrong thing. Sometimes you say the wrong thing. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Ticket Stub has a ticket sponsorship with the Grand Theater and Hamstar Cinema. We're off to a great start. You can visit irlonestar.com for information about the show and sponsorships, or you can drop us a line at 936-647-3776. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you very much. My name's Connor.
Woo!
One of the hosts of the show. Blowing out microphones is Dick. How you doing, bud?
What's up, dude?
And Chris.
Good
Gigglebox.
to see you coming over here.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Every Thursday.
Nice that you
very
guys
funny.
show up.
Every Thursday. We do try to do that on Thursdays.
We broadcast it everywhere.
So Facebook.com/theticketstubpodcast. Right now, it's working so far.
That's
so
good.
That's
Okay.
good.
As opposed to all the times where it's not working?
Well, Facebook's been acting really weird. Like right now, I can't type anything in our description besides our episode number because it does that little keyboard trick where it like starts at the beginning and then it writes reverse. And it's not the keyboard; it's Facebook. On all of our programs, where I'm unable to write
I don't know this
anything.
trick you speak of.
You ever been typing and you actually hit the insert key, and the insert key basically like when you're typing it deletes everything that you're typing previously?
I have a Mac, so it doesn't have that key.
It doesn't have an insert.
I thought
key.
you were. I
better than you,
thought you were gonna be
plebeians.
like, oh, I have a servant who types for me.
Yeah,
so,
well, I do. I have that. He types on my Mac. Yeah.
What's her name? What's her name? What's that? It's not Alexa. I just went blank.
Allegra.
Siri.
Allegra. Yeah.
Siri.
Oh,
You
Siri.
Type this out.
Yeah, please transcribe. So we got a good show today. We're gonna do some We're gonna do
Yeah.
some box office breakdowns, talking about a couple things coming out this weekend. We're gonna do movie news. We're gonna do the rewinds, where we talk about the shows that or the movies that we've seen over the last week. Then we're gonna just for a minute, I just thought, it's Thanksgiving. We should just talk what we're thankful for.
Oh, for sure.
In fact,
yeah.
we could do that right now. Or do y'all need a minute to think about what you're thankful
We need a minute.
All right, I'll do it later so we can all make up things we're thankful for. Google what should I be thankful
Yes.
for? And then at the very end, and I just realized that I sent it to you in the email, the right link, and then I
saw
put the
it.
wrong link in the
I still
Hallmark.
looked it up.
Thank you.
Chris didn't do anything.
I wasn't able
he
to
pulled
look
the
that
dick
up.
today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And so anyways,
Tying it in with the opening of the show.
So we've got an article that talks about, basically walks you through all of the Hallmark movies that are coming out, the Christmas preview. When we go to break, I'll have to pull the right link up for myself. And we're going to pick the three that we think look the most, I don't want to say the best, because best could be interpreted as actually good, but the best as far as Hallmark movie best. You know what I'm talking about? That's always been a favorite of the Ticket Stub, is the Hallmark Christmas movies. So let's hop right into box office breakdown. There's a few things that are coming out this weekend or that are going to be available this weekend that I thought were especially of note. The first one, we're not even going to really talk about it, but Frozen 2 comes out. I'll actually be seeing that tonight with my family. Chris, will you be seeing that as well, I'm sure?
No, I won't have time. I'll be making sure everybody gets to see it.
Okay,
So-
good. Well, can you have an off-the-record popcorn waiting for me when I get there tonight? Just kidding,
wish.
Grand Theater.
I
Yeah,
wish.
just kidding. Okay, well, let's talk about two movies that are coming out that we might be interested in seeing. Except for Lindsay, I will be interested about Frozen 2. But the ones that maybe adults would be more interested in. The Irishman. So this is going to be streaming on Netflix. And it's going to be in some minimal theater, I think. Maybe, I don't know if it's even around here at all, but there's going to be a little bit of a theatrical release. Let me ask you this question. This is the big, they're doing the aging software. Martin Scorsese's involved in this. What do we've talked a little bit about it. We're here on the precipice
One of my
of release. What do we
friends
think?
already seen it.
Is it already on? Can you stream it now?
No, they had a preview screen in Austin. Oh, and I should have called him right now and be like, "Hey, you want to be on our show?" So
that would have been well, we didn't. The rundown came out last night at 10, so probably not.
Well,
a lot
he
of
told
time.
me he wasn't going to talk about it until it's released on Netflix because usually does little reviews on his social media and stuff.
Do you have a friend who's like is this somebody we should just have on the show?
Well, he just loves movies.
Okay.
I've been trying to convince him to be our Austin because he sees all those movies. Like he goes to like Fantastic Fest. He does all the South
We
by
need an affiliate.
Southwest.
Yeah, we need like a field. And now we're going live to the field. What's this guy's name?
Charles.
Charles. We're going to Charles live in the field.
So yeah.
I don't know why he needs to be live in the field. I mean, I don't. But that feels like a good thing to do.
No, he didn't have to be in a field, but but no, he saw it and he didn't really say yes or no or anything. So there you go.
Well, great
That's my
review,
story.
man.
Yeah,
Okay, wow. I'm on the edge of my seat here. So, question: do you think that the streaming release? I mean, this is a pretty big movie. Martin Scorsese. It's Robert De Niro. Do you think that the streaming release is going to help or hurt the success of this movie? Chris, I know what you're going to say.
I think that though that kind of movie wouldn't be a massive blockbuster in the theaters
gotcha.
in general.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited to see it. I think the reverse aging thing is super cool, and I think they should bring back dead actors too, because I think they've kind of got it down enough.
We're so boxed in with the actors who are alive.
Well, we are. We
mean,
really
what
are.
about all the great
Look at how
actors who are
Charlie's
dead?
Angels did with Kristen Stewart. We could have had Marilyn Monroe in it. Would have been huge.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe not, but I don't know. But yeah, no, it looks great. The technology looks great, and of course, the acting is, I'm sure, incomparable. So, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I saw a hilarious tweet that said, "I'm excited to watch The Irishman as Martin Scorsese intended. On my iPhone, in the bathroom, in 5-minute increments while I'm hiding from my kids," or something like that.
That's very true, though.
Yeah.
That's
It was
very
like
true.
in 17 installments of 5 minutes each while I'm hiding from my kids in the bathroom on my small iPhone screen. I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be good. I'm excited to watch this one. My theater attendance has been a little bit lower, so I'm excited about this one because I'll be able to knock this out at the house easily. And I've just been looking forward to it. It's been in the news for a long time. Scorsese's always good. And do you think this is going to have some of the same kind of? I mean, this feels very much like a Scorsese movie, right? Just from the trailer and everything like that. I guess that's the way I'll ask that. It seems very in his wheelhouse, and so he always does good. The other one that we want to talk about was A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is the Mr. Rogers, not documentary, but biopic, I guess, is what this is. So, did y'all see the documentary? What was it called?
I think A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
No.
Was it not?
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah, I think that's what
Won't
it
You Be
was.
My Neighbor? Dick, did you see that one?
What? I'm sorry, I'm working on something over here.
Did you see Won't You Be My Neighbor about Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, the documentary. Yeah, it was horrible.
What?
Yeah.
No, it was not
Horrible.
You're lying.
There was no controversy.
You didn't
It's like,
No controversy.
yeah, it was like, oh look, he was a great guy. The end.
Yeah, feel good.
But that's
do you
good,
hate
though.
feeling good? Do you
They
hate
didn't- they
do you
still-
hate joy?
No, they didn't really talk about how big of a Christian he was, though.
Well, they talked a little bit about it.
A little bit.
He was like a priest or something at first,
I was
right?
very heavily involved.
Well,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
Yeah.
if you're
Thank you. I know, but
you're doing family
I
shows.
feel
No,
like
I
you're trying to frame that like you're trying to create controversy there.
No, I
wasn't.
no, the controversy. Well, that's what
dirty
I was
Christians
interested
on their
in
kid
how.
shows.
Well, because today that's not a really good thing in mainstream Hollywood to talk about. And he was very devout to his wife, and very devout to his religion, and the core of his teaching came from those things.
Yeah.
And I knew that I've done a little research on him because I thought it was kind of weird they didn't really talk
You're a
about
Roger
it.
head. You're
Well, no, it was just kind of like I just knew how big it was.
That's what they're called.
I believe he was. Well, the reason I think I know so much because he's a Presbyterian, I think, and my family's Presbyterian.
Okay.
And they all
So y'all
love the
like,
Presbyterians.
got the handshake
No,
down
it's
and
really
everything?
weird. Like old
Yeah.
school Presbyterians love talking about other Presbyterians, and so it's like I remember that being one of the things. And I was like, okay, cool, because he like donated a bunch of money. He gave a lot of time. Like he said, he was a pastor, and like it was heavily influenced in the way he wanted to teach.
I mean, it comes out in like the whole like love each other and be kind. I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty Christian. I'm not that other people can't love each other and be kind, but I mean that's definitely at the heart of the message.
Okay, what were we talking about this documentary? It's all right. Go watch it.
Well, I'm just saying we're going to talk about the movie that's coming out with Tom Hanks.
I bet they don't. I bet they have a zero.
About his Christianity.
Whereas Christianity, zero.
Oh, I don't think so. You think they're going to do this whole movie about his life and not mention it?
Yeah, no, it's not about his life.
Well, okay, it's really so. That's a good point. It seems like it's going to be about the writer who's writing the story about Mr. Rogers,
Which is a true story. Like this writer's real.
Okay,
and
so
then,
this
like,
did happen.
This happened.
Okay, and he is going to go on some sort of a journey. You know, if I were to guess, I don't know anything about it. He's probably going to start out as some sort of a curmudgeon or something like that, and then through his encounters with Mr. Rogers, he becomes a more loving, nice person. I don't know.
That'd probably be a safe bet.
Yeah, probably pretty down the middle, right? Yeah. Probably. I bet this movie's pretty free of controversy too. Wouldn't you guess, Dick?
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
that him and his wife have one fight or something like that.
They're not going to talk about his actual history. So it's going to have a big controversy for those who are like, come on, guys.
I will say that when I watched the documentary, and I only knew Mr. Rogers from the TV show as a little kid, I was waiting for the part where they tried to make it seem like he was like creepy with the kids in any way, shape, or form. Not one single bit of that. I mean, from all accounts, he was just like the nicest guy in the entire world. Here's my one thing about this movie: if I was going to have a criticism from the trailer and what I've seen so far, I'm sure that Tom Hanks is going to do a fantastic job. But when you have someone like Tom Hanks, it's really hard for me to not just like see Tom. I mean, they do good makeup, his hair looks good. But I think the whole time it's going to seem like Tom Hanks doing a Mr. Rogers impression versus if you got somebody a little different who wasn't quite as iconic.
Has he done that before?
Mr. Rogers?
Where he's played a real life person other
Sully.
than Apollo 13. Oh yeah, Sully.
Sully
Was it like that
Sullenberger
in
or whatever.
Sully?
Except for I don't know who Sully is. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, sure, but that felt more like him being, Apollo 13 guy
Yeah.
versus, I mean, everybody knows who Mr. Rogers is, and so I have a face to put with that. Sully, I don't know what he looked like. Maybe he looked like Tom Hanks, maybe he didn't. I don't really know. But with this one, because it's such an iconic figure in pop culture or in culture or whatever, and then you have such an iconic personality and such an iconic face, that's the one problem with movie stars, in my opinion, is it's hard for them to do these kind of roles because the whole time you're like, oh, it's Will Smith. Oh, it's Tom Hanks. Oh, it's Tom Cruise. I mean, like those guys are so recognizable.
Yeah, especially Gemini Man. I was like, that's Will Smith. The other guy's Will Smith.
Don't they know that that's Will Smith? I
Yeah.
mean, come on, guys. Did you see Gemini Man?
No, I didn't. I was making that joke.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
No
but,
one saw it.
Yeah, okay, that was a good one.
Same thing with Charlie's Angels. No one saw that movie either.
Yeah.
Oh no, nobody bet. You need to talk about that.
All right, let's
That
talk
was a
about
massive bomb.
Let's talk about it. I didn't have it on the thing here, but tell us about Charlie's Angels.
Well, it bombed.
All right, moving
Big
on.
time. I want to say, can you look this up? Because I don't want to say this wrong. The opening weekend gross, I think, was 9 million.
No, I think it was little. It was like 8.2.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. That's why I said look it up because I don't want to get it wrong. But then
it was actually 8.2.
Elizabeth Banks came out and said that the reason the movie flopped was
She's a woman, right?
Was because that men don't go see action movies with women in it. That is
That
such
cannot be
crap.
true. That's sexist to say
Well, didn't
that.
she say white
Yeah.
men?
Oh, straight white men?
I had to look it up.
Did she? Did
Okay,
she?
I'm
Did she
looking
go
at
that far? I don't know.
Domestic opening 8.3511009.
That is horrendous.
The budget was only 48 million, so they're doing okay.
Oh, that is horrendous.
Hey, but internationally, it made 1.9 million. So
Oh
they're
my
up,
gosh.
they're up to 11,
Wow.
11.78.
Wow. I think you can attribute that to an extremely off-putting lead actress.
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
just,
white men was a fake. It was just men.
Yeah. I didn't think she went that far, but
Yeah, let us do an editorial
yeah,
here.
but I think
op-ed.
that's false what she's saying. I mean, if you made a bad movie and people didn't want to see it, don't blame it on something fictitious.
Well, but what a
like
great
that.
time to make a bad movie, though. What a great time in society
Well,
to make a terrible movie that's all about women, because then you can just say
Okay.
it's because it's about women.
Well,
First of all,
ironically-
Ghostbusters, people went to see that. It was terrible. That was all women. I liked Ocean's 8. That did good at the box office. That's the same lines. Wonder Woman.
Huge.
Hello.
Yeah.
Chris Pine was in
Hello.
that. People,
Hello.
People wouldn't go say that because Chris Pine was in it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
No,
That's just
well,
the
what's-
times of people
what's
not
funny
going to
to
see a
me,
movie
though-
because of a lead actress. That's ridiculous.
First off, her making it about being either man or woman, kind of offensive. I mean,
it is very offensive.
Wasn't one of the
disrespecting-
Charlie's Angels
I'm going to
trans?
claim Me Too on that.
Wow, here we go.
Well, it's not fair. It's not fair because it's false.
There we go. It's not fair because it's stupid.
Well, it's also stupid, but it's not true.
Well, I was reading a thing about it. Some people were really upset with her not making one of the angels trans.
Seriously?
No, I made that.
Okay. The white men were mad that the women weren't trans.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
That would be fine.
Well, no. See, what's
Would it?
interesting though is
Yeah.
If people would be
Ironic-
mad, or if she had made one trans.
If she had made one.
Oh, that's
ironically she released this movie the same weekend as a car movie, which all the men went to go see.
Ford v Ferrari.
So it's like even if you were blaming it on us, they wouldn't have gone to see your movie because they're too busy seeing Ford versus Ferrari.
No,
Yeah.
this movie would have been great.
This would have
during-
been a better weekend.
the great
go against.
Well, it would have been great during the summer. This is the period that not a lot of people go to the movies because you're after the summer and you're before the holidays. So it's always that iffy period unless you get a huge hit like It Too. The rest of the stuff doesn't really do that great. So I would have released it in the summer if I was them.
Well,
And I think it would have done
maybe they
10
need to call
times
you
better.
next time. But it's a pretty good business plan to invest $48 million in something and then get like about $12 million back, right? Like that's pretty good. About a quarter.
Apparently. What
just
studio did this?
I don't know.
Elizabeth Banks did,
Yeah.
probably. She made a big deal about she was written on it 4 times and it bombed and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking,
some point, look
The
in the
Twitter,
mirror,
the Twitter world with, especially with famous people. I wonder if there's ever going to become a time where it's like actually a backlash. Like we really don't want to deal with Elizabeth Banks because she's way too opinionated on the social media. Because you still have the second week coming up. So do you think she did this as a ploy to be like, go see this? It's
Probably.
Well, it's kind
so.
of like that. What was that movie that's basically super bad but for females?
Yeah. Oh shoot.
And it didn't do. It did 13 million, I think, at the opening weekend, and like that was the same thing. Booksmart. They also went on social media saying more people need to see this movie, and the hard thing is like, well, no,
That was an independent movie.
Yeah,
though.
it was indie. Yeah.
Well, I meant like it's just that is that a strategy? You go on social media telling people, hey, you
I'm
need
kind
to
of
see
jaded.
this
I think
movie.
anytime anybody says anything, it's trying to get more publicity.
Well, yeah,
first.
and that's why I was like,
the reason this did not
hot
work.
take, Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah,
We need to play hot takes again.
it didn't work because
Hot take, Elizabeth Banks is a good director.
oh,
I'm just kidding.
if you look at the first Charlie's Angels, it had all three established actresses. Everybody knew who those people were, and that's why it worked.
And Bernie Mac.
And Bernie Mac. And
That's who everyone went to go see
And
was
Crispin
Bernie.
Glover was in. But yeah, so this one didn't have any real established actresses other than Kristen Stewart,
Who
which
sucks.
well, pretty much.
Well,
like if they had done like not that she would do this, but like Sandra Bullock and somebody else,
A little
that
bit out
would
of
have
the
been
age demo, I
huge.
think.
Well, no, I made this point on the morning show.
55-year-old Sandra Bullock is one of the.
Well, I made this.
Yeah,
point,
why not?
I made this point on the morning show that they made
They're
this
fighting
movie with
diabetes.
they made this movie with a cast for an audience of under 20, but the movie itself, the Charlie's Angels, is for an audience over 30, and so it just didn't connect. You're like,
Well,
who
that's-
are these
that's
people?
true, like-
When you pull nostalgia culture in, and then you try to sell it to 20-year-olds, they don't care about Charlie's Angels.
But like they made actresses who no one knew who unless you're 20 or under, and you're like, well, you're not going to get the old crowd. And from what I read online from people making comments about the fans of Charlie's Angels, basically said they should have connected the older 2000 movies reboot into it because they kind of said that was canon.
Yeah.
That's part of the world. They should have involved it more. That way people could connect on it. Because they basically, the only negative thing I've read from true fans were the action wasn't done very well. Like the cinematography, everything was kind of, the first 20 minutes apparently made some people sick and stuff like that. So,
well, there are legions of Charlie's Angels fans, I'm sure, are really.
well,
up in
yeah,
arms
I mean,
about
there are fans of it. So, and they were even kind of disappointed. They're like, well, this wasn't the same. It wasn't campy.
I mean, if Kristen Stewart's in a movie, and excuse me if I'm out of line for saying this,
You are.
but she is a terrible actress, and you're going to get terrible acting when she's in the movie. I'm just saying. I'm sure she's a nice
and
person.
it's also
in real
kind of
life,
funny
but-
that she made a movie based off of an IP that was at its core for men to Google at. Or Google, to Google at.
Google and Google.
Google and Google, yeah.
Is that why they call it Google?
I don't know, maybe. But no, does that make
Well,
sense
they're
to you?
trying to change it.
I know, but it's kind of it's
Taking it
weird to
back.
me.
They're taking it back.
Taking
Well,
back
taking
the
what
power.
back? It started because
Taking back the
the
power.
TV series was wanted to have sexy women on TV. You have guns and do explosions, but they have to be sexy
Cool
women.
guys, don't look at it. Sorry. This would have been better for Netflix, in my opinion. Put something like this on Netflix. Just let it kind of be there. People might find it on the random Saturday when they're sitting at home going like, I don't want to watch The Office again. What could I put on? Oh, sure, maybe this.
Now, I will say this: I do need to watch it. I don't.
With
need
that
to,
said, none of us have seen it.
well,
so it
yeah,
could be
yeah.
really
We don't
good.
need to make a rush to judgment. That's a bad movie.
No, it's
Yeah.
easy. We can do hot takes.
You just said that Kristen Stewart sucks, and so if she's in a movie, she's going to do a terrible performance.
But that doesn't mean the movie's going to be bad. But she's probably going to be bad. Is my hunch.
Well, it's kind of strange when your strongest performance is in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And
Was that Kristen Stewart?
no, that was Elizabeth Banks.
That wasn't her best performance.
I think a lot of people, that's when they go, hey, what do you think Elizabeth Banks
No,
best?
they do not. If you ask anybody about Elizabeth Banks,
What do
I
they think?
guarantee that they will. How about the Hunger Games? She was in all three of those movies. She was a small part.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
she,
yes,
a
she
small
was
part. I'm talking
wonderful.
like
Yeah,
a
but I'm
lead.
saying when you talk, but no one saw Zack and Miri Make a Porno, and no one thinks about that movie like in the last 10 years.
Well, I'm
If I'd Chris,
Agree to
if
disagree.
I'd asked you to name off Elizabeth Banks' filmography, would that movie have been something you thought of?
No,
Thank you.
what would you thought of when I say Elizabeth Banks?
probably Hunger Games, and that's it. But I know she's been in a lot of stuff, and in some things that I like, but I can't recall what they are.
I like Elizabeth Banks generally, but this may again we haven't seen the movie, so we spent this wasn't even on the list of things to talk about. We spent the most
well,
time.
let me ask you something. Who would you cast it in this movie to make it more appealing to a general audience?
What they should have done is go with all like the little never mind. This is doing the exact same thing. I was saying go with all the little pop stars who are like trying to be actresses now.
exactly. Yes, people like that, or like supermodels or something.
What about Zendaya? Zendaya's
No,
good.
there's some strong women out there.
Yeah.
You watch South Park?
But
The strong women
I think, like,
competition.
Here you go. Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
No, it cannot be Sandra
Yeah,
Bullock.
so why can't it?
Because-
Sandra Bullock, Dolly Parton,
Oh dear Lord.
and Helen Mirren.
Well, what's interesting to me about it is, you know,
Those are
be
some
awesome.
hot, classy women.
It would be awesome.
well, the issue when you're casting this movie is
Dolly
you have to
Parton
make
still
a
alive?
decision that
Yeah,
all
she was
three
on the
women
Tonight Show
have to
last
be
night.
around the same age. That's the difficult thing. So it's like you can get Kristen Stewart, who has a wide appeal. That she's been in big movies, so she's. But then you're like, all right, who else is just like Kristen Stewart? Well, there's not really another Kristen Stewart.
They're one of a kind.
Thank the Lord.
No, I meant more just around the age, and you know, so it's like, well, we can't have another angel be 30 years older than her.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah, and then the older angels like pissed at the younger, like better looking angels all the time. They're like talking bad about each other behind each other's backs.
I don't know. Wait, let's go. Let's do the
All
next
right, yeah,
one.
I didn't even want to talk about this. Chris started it. All right, so Ticket Stub, we actually changed world news. I don't know if you guys know about this or not for our loyal listening audience. Last week, we talked about, Dick said, can't Netflix like buy movie theaters? And then Chris started quoting like tort law from the 1940s or something like that about how there's antitrusts and the Carnegies or something. I don't remember everything that was talked about, but basically there's some law that movie theaters have to be independent from the studios, that they can't intermix. And then within 48 hours, that law was overturned. And so I don't want to say that it's because of us.
It's going to be overturned. They're talking
Excuse me,
about.
going to be overturned. There was a Wall Street Journal article that talks about that the
It's in the
long-standing...
description of the Facebook Live, and also if you're listening to the podcast.
There we go. Long-standing legal rules that say that movie theaters have to be separate from the distributors and the studios may change. Chris, we're going to go to you live in the field for yeah, for your take on this.
Well,
And don't get fired. Just tell us about it. Don't say something that's going to get you in trouble.
well, I won't. It's so.
You're a made man.
But when that law came about, I don't think there were a lot of theater chains at that point.
Probably
and
a fair
so,
guess. It was like 1940.
when the studios were trying to own movie theater chains, it would have been a monopoly at that point. I don't know now if that would be the case, but I think it would be slightly detrimental if, like, a studio owned a theater chain and they only release their movies into their theaters. Now, that on their part,
Would be stupid, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's, I don't know off the top of my head, I can't remember how many screens
is there a
there
movie
are in
studio
the United
besides
States.
Disney that produces enough films to fill a theater year round?
But maybe they would hold other. Well,
No.
I guess the question is, if you said we're only going to release ours,
Yeah.
would it kind of become like a mutually assured destruction, like with the nuclear bombs in Russia? Like, we're only releasing our films, and they go, well, screw you, then we're only releasing our films. So yeah, like you said, if you could do that and people still needed you to release their movies, then you could be okay, because then you'd become the destination spot for yours, but you would still have access to the others. But if you only were releasing what you had, that would be pretty sparse, it seems like.
I think what is probably going to happen is, let's say Disney releases Frozen 3. When they release it in their own theaters, it would be something like
a week or two?
Frozen 3 plus, 15 extra minutes.
Or they
something
could
like
say, the first week is only in our theaters. Although even that, opening weekend's everything, so they don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need the grosses from the majority of the theaters.
Well, because when you look on like Box Office Mojo, the widest release possible is like 4,500 screens, basically, is what it is. Or 4,500 theaters. Is it theaters or screens when they show those numbers? That's got to be theaters.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
4,500 theaters. So even like the AMC, I mean, I wonder on the highest end, something like AMC has to be one of the biggest movie chains in the country, right?
I believe it's the largest in the world.
So even if it owned half, if it owned 2,000 of those screens, which I bet it doesn't, but if it did, that's still, I mean, if you were going to say that a movie like, a box office movie was only going to be at 2,000 screens instead, they just can't have the seat capacity to ever make that money back.
Well,
right?
what you do is you just have 10 theaters show it. You're like, say your theater has what, 13?
14.
14? And I'm Disney. I'm going to put all 7 to 10 of those screens Frozen 2.
Yeah, but then you're all in on like, but what if it sucks?
But I think we're looking at this at a way that it's not Disney who's going to be doing
You're
it.
the one that keeps saying Disney.
I'm saying, hypothetically, could Disney produce enough films to fill a theater for year-round stuff? I don't think so. But I think it's just more for a Netflix, Amazon kind of people who want to
show their stuff
and not have to deal with the finicky, let's call AMC. No, we don't like you because you release movies on streaming, so we're not going to have you.
Yeah.
They need an avenue to put their stuff in the theater.
That's fair.
And especially if they're spending $100 million for an Irishman, they're like, it's kind of silly not to have this in the big screen, guys.
Yeah.
And so they're probably doing their best, and I think they're going to get a lot of. That's probably why they are really excited about this law, because they don't have to deal with that crap.
And them coming around and buying up regional theaters might be the better way to do it. Not to say, hey, we're going to try to acquire.
Well, like
AMC
The
or
Irishman, for
Tinseltown.
example, did anyone know where to go see that? They weren't showing it at all in Houston.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. We're the third largest
fourth,
city or
yeah.
fourth largest city. Like, you're not going to show The Irishman anywhere in our city, but they showed it in Austin. Yeah. So it's kind of like, clearly they have connections in Austin. So Austin's the place to be to watch movies that are hard to see, but they need to have a more public representation. You know, how many theaters are in Conroe? Like 7?
A bunch.
So it's like, clearly people are wanting to watch movies around here.
Well, and there may be on the business side, there may be a thing, and I don't know a whole bunch about business or anything, but if you own the theater and the distribution and the production company, there may just be a huge amount of savings running that movie through the pipeline where, you know, say that if you're Disney and you produce a fifth of all movies that come to theaters a year, and that's not probably accurate, but say you do, well, then on that fifth of you know, on those movies from the theater standpoint, you get to save money, you know, bringing it to...
Yeah, I don't see them doing any blocking. I think it's more of just people who...
Like efficiency type thing?
Yeah, I think it's more of for people like Netflix who need an
maybe so.
opportunity, an avenue to go. And I think that's what this law... I don't think it's going to hurt the grand. I don't think anything like that's going to come around.
Grand is screwed is what I think.
Because people already hate Disney. So it's like...
Who hates Disney?
Nobody.
A lot of people hate like their practices and, you know, all their whitewashing, you know, all they do.
I think people like you hate Disney, but I think everybody else loves it. Cynical white men.
That's true.
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks hates it too. I think.
Yeah, but I bet she really hates it.
All right, another article.
That's what she should have done is approach Disney like, let's make a Charlie's Angels ride.
Ooh, yeah, that probably is going to work. Let's just talk about this for like 1 minute just because I took the time to put it on there. Cinema Blend had an article. Star Trek 4 has been having a little bit of rocky times, lost the director, everything like that. Got a new director.
Was that director Quentin Tarantino that they lost?
He was spitting in people's faces and stuff. They got a new director back on track. It looks like it's got the full cast that's been in the other ones. The question I want to ask is, does anybody care about this Star Trek franchise? And I know it's a leading question, but...
Well, I think it don't seem like they had a final thought on it. Meaning, like from when they started the movies, we're like, hey, we're gonna make 10 of these. No, they probably never did the Marvel thing.
No.
They're like, oh, let's just keep making them,
Just keep rolling.
But
the last one was not that great.
Which one was the last one? I mean, what was it about? Do you remember?
There was some lady.
Was she like white or something? Like a white body, like not white,
she was a good
Caucasian,
person.
but
But
like,
from what I understood, they discovered a planet that was doing something negative to people.
that's every plot to every.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, we had to stay here and help liberate these people. That's what I remember, but I could be completely off.
My note is that don't all these movies seem forgettable, or they all blend into kind of one? Like, there's nothing.
The first two.
They were
in this series were really good.
They were all good, is my feeling. Even the third one, I felt like I enjoyed and was good. But now it's like, didn't one of them have like Khan, but he was young or something?
That was number two.
And then one of them, they were like on a planet with like red tribesmen running after him or something. That was the very beginning of maybe one of them. And then
That was the very beginning of, I think, the second one.
and then Kirk was in a bar getting in fights. I mean,
That
it's
was the
just,
first one.
That was the first
Okay, well,
one.
apparently y'all are better than me at remembering all this stuff. But to me, nothing stands out. I'm surprised that they're still making these. I know it's probably going to do big money somewhere, and that'll be fine. But Star Trek, if
It's
you're
called
listening,
Star Trek 3 Beyond.
Okay,
That was the third one. You're asking what it's called.
Did I? Okay, well, thank you. Okay, well, anyways, who's asking for these? Who cares? I don't know what the answer to that is. But it's back on track, so if you're a Star Trek fan, be excited. My nerd brother will probably like that because he loves Star Trek. So
I didn't really enjoy the new ones.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's strange to me that they had to make it for a bigger audience. And it's like, no, Star Trek's been around for a while and they have a good audience, so why change it that much?
Well, I think they wanted it to be like the biggest thing that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Their spaceships are weird looking, so it's never going to happen. All right, let's go to break. And then when we come back from break, we're going to rewind, do the movies that we've seen over the last week. And it's going to be a short break. We're going to very briefly talk about what we're thankful for. And then if there's time, we're going to preview the Hallmark Christmas movies. If not, we'll kick it to next week. But stick with us here on The Ticket Stub.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Time in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound,
including Fathom Events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
and some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
Did you know that there are over 153 million orphans in the world today? The sad reality is 99% of those kids will likely never be adopted. Core Love is an organization right here in Conroe that takes care of orphan children in Haiti, Honduras, and India. We bring the love of Jesus by providing their 6 basic needs of clean water, proper food, healthcare, education, job skills, and a loving home. Visit corelove.org, that's CORELUV.org. Will you help defend the orphan?
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776.
Want to check out the fastest growing sport in the world? It's right here in Conroe, Texas, and it's roller derby. Conroe Roller Derby is a non-profit recreational league of women and men who want you to come and check out the fast-paced, hard-hitting game of roller derby. The Conroe Cutthroats practice at Rainbow Roller Rink on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. You can find our game schedule and more information on our website, www.conroerollerderby.com.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. Broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Let's begin now.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed this last segment, man, we were on fire. Talking about The Irishman, talking about Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, talking about how we changed the law,
Just a bunch of nonsense.
talking about Charlie's Angels, talking about Star Trek 4. I did mention that next week we may be back with some stuff about the Hallmarks. We won't, because next week is Thanksgiving Day. And guess what, people? Spend time with your families. Don't sneak off and try to listen to a podcast. Enjoy. Live in the moment. Be present. Am I right?
Come to the movies.
Come to the movies and ruin Chris's life.
Yeah, you were saying that the Black Friday is one of the second busiest days at a movie theater.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What you compared it to something? Well, I forget exactly what it was. It was something not enjoyable that your week was going to be.
It was a very thorough examination.
Is that just because there's so many people? Like when the theater is really busy, is it just that's why you get stressed out because there's just too many people there, meaning there's more of a chance for problems.
I mean, it's like any other business. You know, you have maybe you might have like staff that doesn't show up or something. You know, so yeah, I have a great plan in place, but eventually
if every employee shows up and you actually have a decent crew. Mm-hmm. No matter how busy it gets, it should all go pretty smooth, right?
Yeah, it should.
Is there a breaking point where like customers devolve once it hits like 70% capacity? People just start complaining about everything.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see that too. Like somebody who in normal circumstances would be a perfectly fine customer, but they're one of those people that like it tips over the breaking point for them.
I would say if you're not. Well, it's always tense this time of year because everybody's hanging out with their families that they don't want to be with. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little tension there.
Speaking of that, we're going to talk about what we're thankful for here in just a minute.
Right, we are. But it's if we're providing good customer service, everything's all good. And I think we do that all the time. So I'm excited.
There we go.
Cool.
All right, boring. Let's move on. What are we thankful for? Let's briefly go
Bring
around.
a shiv to the grand.
Yeah. Chris,
make it interesting.
Chris, it's Thanksgiving week. What are you thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful for my family, obviously. My wife and my...
what do you mean, obviously? You never talk about them on here, so we don't know.
What?
Call out, Chris. I
What?
know.
My wife was on the show.
Yeah, she came on the show one time. All of our spouses.
So
that was even before they were our spouses, I think.
And
Yeah.
Not Chris, but
and I have two cats now.
Make it sound like they just walked in.
And then, one of them
I
did.
thought
The
you were
other
gonna
day.
say.
I won't
I
get
thought you were
into
gonna say kids, but
no, two cats. And then
who I adore.
my parents, very thankful for them.
That's good.
And I'm thankful for the folks that I work with.
That's good.
And I'm thankful for you guys.
Oh,
Did you read that in a Hallmark card or something?
Yeah, this is nice. This is getting sappy.
Yeah.
Dick, quit hating on his thankfulness. What are you thankful for, Dick?
I'm thankful for Dune, the movie coming out.
Nice.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's pretty much it.
And what he said.
Okay, and what he said. You know, I'm
pretty much. And comic book movies, because it just pisses everybody off.
You're thankful for dread and for hate.
No, actually, no. I really am thankful for comic book movies because I enjoy comics a lot, and it's nice to have a lot of money involved in that industry, and it's going to keep going. That's one thing. I'm glad it hasn't died out. I'm glad people are seeing those movies, and people are going to, especially all the ones that do little projects, not just the Avengers Endgame kind of stuff. It's like, especially the CW or whoever. Is it WB? CW?
I think those might be the same.
They're doing like crazy stuff that I would never think anyone would ever make. And I'm like, really? We're going to be doing that series? Okay. And so I even though I don't really watch a lot of stuff, I just like it.
You like it's there?
I like it's there. That means people are spending money and still doing stuff for comic books. And then I'm thankful for the show and the 2 tickets we give away every week on the Ticket Stub to the Grand Theater in Amstar.
What a wheeler and dealer, man.
And I'm thankful for the
Reeds.
Grand.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the Grand.
I'm thankful for the Grand.
It's just down the street from me, so I like literally down the street. So it's so nice. Just
that was my life for like 8 years, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
I could be like from front door to ticket booth in like 4 minutes, and it was pretty wonderful. Well, I'm thankful for my family. This time last year, I was not wed yet, but now I am, and have my 2 wonderful.
So are you just going to be thankful
stepkids.
for all the kids movies you have to watch?
Well, I do watch a lot more kids movies than I used to, but I'm thankful for getting some time off work. That's always nice when things are closed. Sorry, Chris. I know it's the opposite effect for you. That's why your life sucks now. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for holiday. I'm thankful for the holiday movie season. This is a fun time for movies. If we're speaking especially about movies, Christmas always good stuff comes out around this time of year, and that's part of why it's so busy because there is so much. A lot of crap comes out also, but a lot of good stuff comes out, and so that's something to be thankful for. With that in mind, let's do a quick brief. Chris, I know you didn't even get to watch a movie this week, which is good because we only have like a few minutes to go.
Yep.
Dick, what did you watch this last week?
I watched Creed 2.
Okay. I don't think I saw Creed 2. How
It's
is that
available.
possible? How did
It's
I not
available
see Creed
streaming
2?
on Amazon Prime. So if you're a subscriber or whatever you want to call it to Amazon Prime, you can stream it. Creed 2 is the sequel to Creed. How about that? Did you know that?
Okay. Creed 2, the sequel.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. One thing I would love if an audience, if a listener,
This is about the band, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
This
man,
is called Creed. Can you take me higher?
Yeah.
arms never more wide open, guys.
Heart
No,
wide open, arms wide open.
the one thing, a listener, if anyone's seen it,
Is that band named after Apollo Creed, you think?
I have no
Probably
idea,
not.
man.
Probably.
Is this movie felt really cheap?
Oh, bummer.
So like it felt cheaply made.
I'm sure it wasn't cheaply made.
Well, I mean, it's more of like, hey, we got to do this boxing scene again, but we can only get 10 extras. How do we make it look like we're at, the HBO live boxing, world boxing, whatever? I don't know. It just felt really small. Everything was really small. There were really a lot of the scenes were just 2 people in a room or 2 people by a car, and it didn't feel like it was a big production, which, I mean, maybe they chose to do it that way. I have no idea.
Was Michael B. Jordan Jack? Did he get ripped again for
Yeah.
this one?
Oh, yeah. I really like the elements they pulled from the other Rocky movies where they talked about the kids and, there was a lot of history in the Rocky in this one that was kind of, it was expected. Like one thing I really liked was Drago was back from Rocky 4 and his son, and they actually chose to tell that story a little bit, which was great. Like what happened to Drago after Rocky 4, and they didn't make it like a sole villain. So one thing that I am...
Wait a minute. I did see this movie.
Yeah, there. Okay.
Sorry.
He's consumed by those kids movies, guys. It just takes up so much space.
I was like, oh, they brought Drago into this movie
So
too.
if
Oh wait,
you're-
no, this is the movie.
If you're
I
a
saw.
fan of the Rocky series, it's a nice addition. It fits in nicely. It also continues the story. So one thing I'm interested to see if they're going to make a Creed 3. They were talking. I was reading reports. There's 2 potential.
I don't know their Creed song to make a joke about. For
2
Creed 3.
potential sequels. Is one bringing back Mr. T's son. So Mr. T and his son will be in it.
Can he just fight other people?
But then there's a whole new reboot they're thinking of doing is Rocky trains an immigrant from Mexico. Either a legal immigrant or an immigrant. I don't really remember what the twist was, but it was like that was the new direction they might be taking it. But I think they need to end it. And what sucked, though, is, and I don't really know, I got to look it up because I might just be blanking, is Adrian, did the actress really die?
Yeah, I think so, didn't she?
Is that why? Because like, there's so many elements in the movies post Rocky 5 that they could have had Adrian like really make a good point, but like she's dead in the series.
I don't think she's dead.
So, and they always kind of
acting was pretty dead.
Well, no, I enjoyed her.
Really? I don't.
In Rocky.
Let's see. In autumn of 2001, Adrian discovered that she was dying from ovarian cancer.
Well, that's Adrian, the character.
In the autumn of 2000. Oh, that was okay.
That's the character. Now, because that was the only thing that kind of like you knew the way they were writing.
She has her own Wikipedia page.
Well, I don't doubt it.
Well, everybody does. Oh, Adrian.
But
not that.
Folks who have Amazon, check it out. It was good. I thought the boxing was good. I thought the story actually was better than the boxing, which I found interesting. So again, that's one thing I wonder in production why they couldn't get her back. Maybe she didn't want to act, but it's like that kind of drug it down a lot because a lot of the story had to do with her being dead. You know, if like your mom was here, you know, if Adrian, you know, that kind of stuff. I was like, you know, if she was there, it'd be a lot better movie. So
yeah. Was this the one where he took him to like hell to train or whatever?
The desert.
Yeah, in the middle of that was kind of a weird scene. And I like how he's like a championship boxer, but those random guys in the middle of the desert were like beating him up at first. Like it just seems like that wouldn't have happened. I don't know. All right, well, I forgot. Man, that was bothering me, but I did see that one. Okay, Addams Family. I saw Addams Family from 2019 that just recently came out. Went and saw that with the family. The IMDb says the eccentrically macabre family moves to a bland suburb where Wednesday Addams' friendship with the daughter of a hostile and conformist local reality show host exacerbates. Golly, what a freaking weird. Okay, basically they move into this house and then a suburb is getting built right next to it, like this like perfect town where it was really great because she was like the host of one of these fixer-upper type shows. This lady who was kind of the bad guy, and she built this whole town on spec trying to sell all the units to people, and then they realized the Addams Family house is at the top of the hill, which is kind of unfortunate. Hijinks ensue, as you could imagine. This was a good kids movie. I mean, it's got some funny parts. If you have kids, definitely this would be one that you should check out at some point if you didn't already. Really good, especially for Halloween time. You know, we saw it, right about then.
Do you think they made the Addams Family originally? It's because the person who created it wanted to be like, it's okay to be a Wednesday?
Like to be like kind of sad and like monotone and everything?
No, I think they were trying to capitalize on Munsters again. That's what I think.
Well, yeah.
Was it the same people?
Yeah. Well,
No.
there was a fad back in
kind of
back
the
in the
same
day.
thing.
That was a fad. No, I get that. I'm talking about today. It's like, why do you make this into a cartoon? How many Addams Family cartoons have there been?
One.
I'm talking about TV. There's a TV series. I know that.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Okay.
A cartoon TV series of the Addams Family?
They've done different Addams Family renditions.
Addams Family Values.
There's two other movies.
But that's live action.
Mm-hmm.
So
cartoon-wise, I don't think there is one.
1992 series, The Addams Family.
I guess there was.
Yeah. So Booyah.
American animated series based on the eponymous strip. Charles Addams was the creator. Okay.
But no, I found a lot of people like writing Wednesday, and so I was just curious.
Yeah. Anyway, this was good. Go see it with your family if you want. If you don't have a family, I would probably not go see this one. So that's my review.
Is that because you'd be weird in the theater?
Laughing
at the weird jokes.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take one. I'll take one for the Addams Family, please. At 4 p.m.
He saw it.
Yeah. He's looking at his watch. No, he's like, I got to get the heck out of here. All right. Well, it's his busy season, so we'll let Chris off the hook. We do have to go. What we'll do next show, we'll do the Hallmark Christmas movie preview because we don't want to forget to talk about the Hallmark movies. And they're about to start. It's coming. Hallmark movie season.
I think they've started.
Yeah, they started.
November 1st.
Yeah.
November 1st?
Yeah.
I think.
Golly, it's so ridiculous with the Christmas stuff. All right, well, cool. Well, we love you guys. Thanks for listening. For Chris, for Dick, my name's Connor, signing off on the Ticket Stub.